Alright, what is up everybody? Welcome back to another video on this beautiful channel. This will be a quick one, pretty much in between the rest of the videos. I just quickly want to show you how I debug stuff and how you can also debug stuff, because there's obviously a lot of questions when doing series like this and when doing YouTube tutorials, and I think it will be of great help to you if you are able to debug and find the issues yourselves, and it's gonna help you in the future as well, because a lot of the stuff is pretty simple to find. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I noticed in my latest upload, if I play as client, I will get some issues like I can't attack. So now I'm pressing the input for attacking, but nothing happens. And this is actually a very simple fix. So I want to use this as an example to show you how to find this issue yourself. I know a lot of you are already good at this stuff, so you can skip this video if you want to, but yeah, let's just show you. So I'm pressing the mouse button for attacking and nothing happens. So we need to start with the logic start and go from there to see where the issue lies, right? We need to follow the train of the logic. And the first step for that is obviously the attack input. So we know that nothing is happening when we do the attack input. That's what we're trying to solve. So we go to the attack input, and this should trigger. So that's obviously the first step. Does this even happen? So there's a couple of ways we could test that. We could print string. We could print string here. Attack happened. And if I now test play, you can see it's printing, attack happens. So we know it's not an issue with the actual input. You could print string. The easier way to do it is to actually add a breakpoint at the first node instead. So we can right click, add a breakpoint. This is going to be quicker and easier than adding print strings all the time and forgetting to remove them. So what the breakpoint does is that when we add a breakpoint, it's going to pause the game simulation when the logic in the game reaches this breakpoint, and it's going to allow us to read the values that happen here. So if I now test play with the breakpoint, I play. As soon as I press the attack button, you see the game stopped simulating, and we know that the code reached this point. And from here we can also read values. You see left mouse button, I can now read that it was actually false because I spammed the button. So okay. So now we can go from there. We know we reached this point, and we can actually follow the logic without test playing. So if I add a breakpoint here, because this is the first point of issue, it's not gonna do the attack if this is false. So let's see if that is the issue. Sorry. I need to equip the sword. I have the sword, and now I'm gonna press the attack button, and the code paused. And the simulation paused, and we reached this point. So we know we're getting this far. So what we can do from here now is we can also advance a single frame, and what this is going to do is going to let us follow the code to one node at a time, basically. So if I press that, we advance the single frame, we now know that we reached this point. So far so good. And we're going to go in here, and now we have reached our weapon primary abilities, so we know the issue is somewhere after here. And we reach the switch statement, so we know the issue is likely here, and we can already tell that it might be because if this is none, we're not going to do an attack. So if I do advance a single frame, nothing happens. So we now know it's not, because we're not reaching this or this, so we're likely reaching this. And we can also confirm this by actually reading some of the values here. So if we read this, you see, no, we read this, add a breakpoint here. We go back to our input and just remove this breakpoint because we don't need that anymore, because we know we've gotten farther. So this is the point of issue. So now we want to debug this. We want to see what the issues that happen here, right? So I press 1, I press attack. So we reached this point. So now I can read the data from this equipped weapon details, and we can see that the issue is clearly here that there's no data here at all. So since there's no data, this is going to be none, and that's why nothing happens. So that's step 1. We have now reached this point. You could obviously like print string. You could print string here as well, and just print string that, for instance. And you could also see that there's nothing here, so you could just print strings, but it's easier with breakpoints in my opinion. There are some situations where you can't use breakpoints if you want to follow, like latent async load nodes and stuff. Might be good to actually add some print strings to see what's actually going on. And print strings obviously allow you to print specific stuff to the log as well in like a development build, so that's also something they could be useful for. But anyway, we know there's an issue with this equipped weapon details, right? Because that's empty. So why is that empty? So we're gonna find where we set this variable. So we have the server equipped weapon function. This weapon is obviously not this function is obviously not being set, but it is set to be replicated, and this should be set. So let's add a breakpoint here and see if we actually get here when we equip the weapon. So now we're no longer, we have taken it one step further. We are not debugging the attack input anymore. We are now debugging why the weapon details don't get set when we press the 1. So I start the game. I'm now gonna press 1 so that we can see if that variable is being set. I press 1 and we clearly see that this variable is indeed being set. So if we now breakpointed, we can go down here and we can now see that, okay, this is actually being filled out. So it's really weird that nothing is happening. And this is a strong indication. You should probably already here know what the issue is, since we're working with components, but let's just try and do like this then. Let's test as a server, because this is a server event, a replicated variable. So let's see if it works when playing as the server. We can see it works when we are playing as the server. Now we actually can attack. So we know that the issue is only happening on clients, right? And it's a replicated variable. But everything seems to be fine here, so there's pretty much only one solution in this case. So there's pretty much only one situation, and that is because the component itself is not replicated on the character. Then it's obviously not going to replicate to the clients, so we need to set this component. So this is a special case, since the issue is not actually because of the code here. The code is correct, it's just that the component itself is not replicating, but it's still a good example. So if we now place client, we can see that it works. Alright, so that was the issue. But you could have had the issue with this, for instance. This could have been, if this wasn't replicated. I do not believe it's gonna work now. We'll see. Yeah, exactly. So once I removed that variable to not be replicated, we can see it's not working, because it's being set only on the server. So the client has no idea that this variable is actually changed. So that could have also have been the issue. Hopefully you understand the train of thought here. You just start with the logic start, you go from there until you find the issue. And usually you will find the issue. So hopefully that will help you solve some of your own issues that you might be creating when you are developing stuff in the future. It might help you solve mistakes that maybe you made when you're following my videos, or it might just be good experience. But don't let that discourage you from asking for help. Please still write in the comments and ask questions if you have any questions, or if there's something you don't understand. Anyway, that's just a quick debugging video. And I will see you in the next one we will be on with the projects. See ya!